think it's going to rain again. The weather has been absolutely awful here at the farm. Honestly, I've never known an autumn like it. We're in mid-November now and there is so much rain here. You can see the maize behind me in the background. That's usually been collected by now, been chopped up, but no, it's still in the field. The ground is too wet and we just can't get on it, so that's really knocked us back. The ground is just absolutely saturated. It's quite heavy soils here at Tatton, quite clayey, which means they do get very wet very quickly. So it's not a good time, but the work continues. Christmas is only around the corner, which means we need to start mucking out and get ready for Christmas. And I've got a special toy coming a little bit later on to start doing that and cleaning out all the pens ready for our Christmas weekend. But before we get to that, there's something else we need to get sorted. It's tupping time. Now, it's a very special time of year. In the last video, we talked all about cow breeding and bulls and artificial insemination. Well, it's now the turn of the sheep. Now, a tup is a male sheep. Some people call them rams, but the common word that's used is tup. And it's time to put the boys in with our girls, so hopefully we'll have some lambs next year. Now, without going into too much detail about the birds and the bees, you know how it works. It's a natural process. Obviously, we let the boys in to do their thing, but as one of the girls now, we need to find out if the boys are working and what they do. Now, sheep are pregnant for around 152 days, okay? So technically, tups going in November, they should give birth April time. Now, we lamb a little bit later because we lamb over the Easter holidays, so people can watch the lambing that we do. The rule of thumb that the old boy sheep farmers use is if you put your tups in on bonfire night, on November the 5th, they'll give birth on April Fool's Day. That's the old sort of rule of thumb that people use. So the tups are in, they've been in for a few days now, and it's really important that we make sure they're working. But how do you do that? The way you find out if your tups are working and doing their job properly is by using a special marker called a raddle. Okay, and there's two sorts of raddles. You can get a little chalk block that you put on a harness and you attach it to the front of your tup, or you can get this powder form that we've got and you mix it with oil and you rub it all over the chest of your tup. Okay, and when he jumps up to mount the ewe and naturally make love to her, or serve her as we call it, he will cover that ewe in paint. Okay, and it gives us an indication that he's doing his job. So what I should hopefully see when we go back down the field now is lots of ewes covered in orange paint. So the raddle just gives you an idea that your tups are working, because obviously if your tups are infertile and they're not doing a job, you're going to have no lambs the following spring. But I'm pleased to say, if you look at our ewes in this field, they've got some nice orange bottoms, which means that the tup in this field is doing his job. And the tup in here is a new boy that we've got. He's called Ruthin, and he's a blue-faced Leicester. It's his first year with us here at Tatton, and he's doing a great job. You can see all our ewes have got lots of nice orange bottoms, which means he has been doing his job, and his chest is completely covered in orange raddle. So anytime he jumps up on one of our ewes to naturally serve them, he covers them in orange paint, and that's an indication to us that he's done his job. Orange is the colour that's been used throughout the park with our tupping time this time. Ellie sorted that out. Shay, our Charolais, he's got an orange raddle on, and then the two Suffolks, Beastie and Rambo, have got orange on as well. And what some farmers do is you can change your raddle colours. So perhaps if you use orange first time round, you could then change it to green or to blue, and it gives the farmer a better indication of when his sheep have been served. So say if you leave your tup in for a little bit longer, for example, our orange ones would have been the first time, the tup would have got them first time, but then if you swap the colour on the tup to say green or blue, if any of the ewes had a green or blue bottom, it would show to us that the tup served them the second cycle round, so perhaps they'll lamb a little bit later. So it's just all an indication to help the farmer really of timing and to get ready for lambing next year. Just come out to have a look at some of the red poll calves who are due to be weaned in the next few weeks. So we had the two bull calves that we castrated last week. They're going to Acorn Farm over at Kirby on Merseyside, and then the 4 heifer calves we'll keep and we'll retain in the herd. So they are the future of the Tatton red poll herd. They're cheeky actually, they're coming towards me now as I'm filming this, but if I was to step any closer to them, they would run off. They're a little bit flighty, but what we'll do with the heifers that we keep, we'll halter train them and get them really well handled. And that's the trick. The more you handle them, the quieter they become. And the red poll natively, you know, they are a real sort of quiet breed, which is what we like here at Tatton. But if I just spin this around now, you can just see them. They're all watching me filming. They look lovely, don't they? But yeah, I just need to move this lick. Now I've got a mineral lick bucket here. and that's full of vitamins and minerals. It's really important that you get the right, what we call trace elements into your cattle, particularly this time of year now with the grass not having a great deal of nutritional value because we are in the autumn. It's the time of year when you can get what's called grass staggers, which is a lack of magnesium. So this is a magnesium lick that I've just put out just to keep the levels right with the cows. Any sort of vitamin deficiency can be a real issue with the cattle this time of year. So we've had a real sort of lush grass through the autumn as well. So particularly with it being quite wet, just got to keep an eye on the cows, and licks are a really good way because they're quite sweet. They just lick and lick and lick, and it gets all those minerals into them. But after what was a really wet morning this morning, it is beautiful now. I think Tatton Park in the autumn is more beautiful than the summer. But yeah, just keep some of this dry weather now, dry up a bit.